Minasan, konnichiwa, Zamurai Engineer desu. In this video, let us continue our discussion of NFPA101, that is Life Safety Code. We are part 1, and we are on module 5.2. So the 9-step procedure. What is the 9-step procedure? We already explained the 5 major steps in the previous module. Let's take a look. Part 1, introduction. We still have to remember that our goal for the Life Safety Code is for having us apply to the specific requirements of safety to life, mission continuity, and property protection in both new construction and existing building. So main is safety to life. And in doing so, you can also address mission continuity and protection to property. So our part 1 is organized like this, as we already are familiar with. And this is the module 5, specifically our video currently is 5.2. So we are in the completing the 9-step procedure. So the 5 major steps is included in the 9-step procedure. So we have what? This 9-step procedure. So the gray colored now are the steps taken in the major 5 steps. And right now we have to deal with step 6, 7, 8, and 9. So take a look. Step 6, after looking to the occupancy chapter, we are now going to go deeper into the chapter and look for what? Subclassifications or special use. How to take a special look on the subclassification and special functions. Then, after which, we have to proceed to the applicable chapter. What are the necessary? Requirements for this subclassification that would add up to the basic classification of the whole chapter. So inside the whole chapter, there are specific, special, and subclassification articles. Okay? And we have to now step 7 is to verify this applicability. Okay? And for chapter 8, so is our application to or more, meaning is the provision of the code requires us to comply with 2 or more types of occupancy. Okay? So, and then if we are able to verify that complying to each and every specific classification and special use. For example, the whole building is what? Mixture of different usage. There are different requirements for those because one particular compartment or room requires, for example, different special application and another room, another special application. So that is true for buildings like malls, because there are other businesses renting a space for their own purposes. For example, restaurant located in a mall. Okay, and also what hardwares or big furniture store. Okay? Big furniture stores would like to have what? Their own storage area. Storage area of different types of requirement, and also on the other hand, there are what popular special what department store, specialized department store for popular products. So there are what plenty of roving people. The density of people, occupants on each of these things are different, and the usage are different. So different requirements, and if that's the case, do I need to comply to each and every of these requirements? The answer is yes, but for the last step, step 9, you only need to comply with D1. There are, for example, one chapter, one article, another provision for the same thing, located at different parts of the code. You can satisfy both of them by selecting the most restrictive. For example, there are 3 provisions. There are several parts of the code wherein the 3 provision has to be satisfied by your space, your area. Choose only the most restrictive one. Okay. The most. Okay. What do you mean by the most? For example, one provision states that you need 2 units of sprinkler. Yeah, another provision requires you to have 3 units of sprinkler, and third provision requires you to have a third sprinkler, 3 units of sprinkler, the same with the second provision, but there's another condition for bigger fire escape, for example, bigger fire escape. So you have to satisfy the most restrictive one, which is the third one, have a 3 sprinkler unit with bigger fire escape. So that means if you satisfy the most restrictive one, in a sense, you already satisfied all of the 3 provisions. Okay, no need to add. If the one provision says 2 sprinkler, another one 3 sprinkler, another one 3 sprinkler, you don't need to put up what 8 sprinklers. You don't need to add. Just use the most restrictive one, and never use the least restrictive one or the average. Only the most restrictive one. Okay. So the first 5 major steps. First, we have to look into chapter 6, wherein we can determine the occupancy class of our space. Our space could be new or existing, which means we have to look for what? Chapter 3 to be able to determine what do we mean, what is the definition of new and existing, because there are other conditions. For example, old building, but you change the occupancy application from being a bank it became a department store. So change occupancy classification. It would, for example, your area would modify the compartmentalization of the space because you are now a department store, not a bank. So there are what? Modification, okay, small or big renovation, okay, but still you need to what? To determine in chapter 3 what is your application. So new or existing doesn't necessarily mean the type of building for which is a new building, is a existing building. No. Okay. It depends on the occupant's classification. Okay. And the third step is look at chapter 7, specifically section 7.3.1, wherein there is definition for occupant load. How to compute occupant load for each and every occupancy class and existency, classification and existence. So existency meaning new or existing. And you have to go back to section 6.2 because you have to what? To look again to hazard of contents. Hazard of contents. There are several examples there together with the definition. So are those classification and definition points me to additional requirement? Okay. Are those given examples there provides me an idea that my own application have to be this specific requirement rather than this one. So hazards of contents are very important bearing on your application. And step 5, applicable occupancy, wherein we have to select which one our own application belongs to. So as you can see, there are odd and even chapters there. So for new occupancy, we need the even numbered chapters, and for existing, you have to use the odd numbered chapters. And in this video, we are going really to the 6, 7, 8, and 9. So number 6, occupancy, subclass, or special use condition. What are those? We have to refer now to subclass or special use. For example, chapter 16, 17, daycare occupancies. Chapter 18, 19, healthcare occupancies. Daycare occupancies, healthcare occupancies, detention and correctional are subclass occupancy, and also there are special cases for them. Okay, daycare, special application because the occupancy are minors, mostly majority minors. not just minors, they are infants, okay, close to infants or kids, no? Young kids, okay. So daycare, healthcare, the occupants are those needing help to move around. They cannot move on their own. What happens during fire? Same is true with daycare. Also detention and correctional. Okay? There are special necessities because what will happen in case of fire? These are special use and sub-classification that gives additional requirement due to the mobility of the occupants. We want to control the mobility of the prison, the detention facilities. Okay. So, and what about, we started with what? Chapter 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, 20. So, what happens to what? 12, 13, 14, 15. Those are more general type of occupancy. They are more general type of occupancy compared to these types of occupancy. Daycare, healthcare, so they are more general types of occupancy, starting from 12 to 15. So hotels and dormitories. 32, 33, residential board and care, meaning chapter 32 is the new installation and 33 is existing construction, existing building. Okay, and chapter 36 and 37 correspondingly we have mercantile occupancies for new and existing building, and chapter 40 industrial occupancy, totally different requirement. So there's no new and existing for this industrial occupancies.